Hey everybody, Charles Hoskinson here, just fresh back from Wyoming. I decided to go up the Parents Ranch in Gillette up over the weekend, and I had a lovely time going to Devil's Tower and playing with the pronghorn and all the other fun activities. Anyway, I just realized that I'm going to be traveling Canada, Barbados, and South Africa during the time overlap with the 15th announcement. And so I decided to give you guys the IOHK side of the announcement just a little bit early. So my apologies to our partners, but unfortunately, it's going to be really difficult for me to do a video on the road, especially if I'm in the air on the 15th, flying around. So as a consequence, I'll just do it right now. Um, Also, the markets are a little depressed right now, and maybe it would be nice to, calm everybody down and say, "Hey, we still have a future and things are okay." Anyway, we've been here before, so everything's fine. Okay. So for the past few months, IOHK has been working really hard on two projects. One is called Prometheus, which we publicly announced, and another project is a reference project. So we never intended to launch a product, but rather build something that we're going to give to our partners to launch and try to encourage the development of a third party application ecosystem. And that is called Icarus. So what Icarus is it's a Google Chrome extension. It could easily be ported to other platforms like Mozilla Firefox and mobile applications, but it's a full wallet running in Google Chrome. So while it doesn't have a full copy of the blockchain, you can do everything you can do with Daedalus with Icarus. So you can import a Daedalus wallet into Icarus, recover your wallet there. Recovery only takes about 2 or 3 minutes. Last time we benchmarked it, so it's considerably faster. It doesn't require you to download the entire blockchain to be able to use it. So it's much like a light wallet in that particular respect. So people who are having connecting to network issues, this is definitely going to help them out. It's been fully security audited in partnership with Kadelsky, and it's written as a hybrid of Rust and JavaScript. Now, we created this because what we wanted to have was a reference design for people who wanted to do mobile wallets and browser based wallets. Because we were a little worried about the security. Some people had come to us and they said, "Hey, we've constructed a light wallet and look how cool it is." And we did a little audit in the design and we realized that that's not so good, and that the reality is that it's probably going to be insecure. So what we wanted was to kind of build a reference design, kind of like how Android has a reference design that Google constructs, that it can then say this is what vanilla Android is. So similarly, Icarus is kind of like the vanilla light wallet experience that we'd like our partners to use. Now, Emergo is one of our partners, and they've decided to fork Icarus and create a new product called Yoroi. And they're going to be making an announcement August 15th about that. And it should be launching as a test net sometime this month. And then the hope is that they can launch it on the main net sometime in September. So mobile clients are coming. We're getting Ada into the browser. And I think it's really going to help a lot of people who are just for whatever reason can't get Daedalus to work. This is going to be pretty good user experience. It'll be a one-click install from the Chrome Web Store. You'll be able to import your 12 keywords into Icarus or Yoroi. You know, Icarus is the reference client, and Yoroi is a fork of it. And you'll be able to recover your wallet there. And then our hope is that people can start building an ecosystem around this. So that as EDA gets more capabilities like ledger support and multi-sig and these types of things, that the mobile client will be able to keep lockstep with that. This is kind of an iceberg of an announcement because the reality is this code base is running parallel to the Cardano code base, and we expect a lot of people to get really excited and start using this to build their experiences over the next 6 months to a year. So in tandem with that, we've also been hiring out for an open source software director, and we are going to begin the process of opening up the Cardano project for third-party contributions. We've been getting a lot of people who want to do tackle issues, and our current issue tracker is UTrack, and that's internal, and we want to start pulling that into Git wherever possible. And we're starting to have discussions with the foundation about a formal Cardano improvement proposal process. So as the protocol stabilizes, we're going to go ahead and allow people to write up CIPs and start some democracy about them so we can actually have community-driven flow in our efforts. Prometheus and Icarus are kind of the first stepping stones in that direction, and we're going to try to use them as a guinea pig for open source contributions. And we've already gotten a lot of Rust developers who are really excited about making potential contributions to the Prometheus code base. So after that is in its command line interface version in September. For Prometheus, we're going to start opening it up. And Icarus is a reference code base, and we really look forward to browser developers to come in and take a look at what we've done and play around with it and have some fun with it, fork it, and potentially pull it in. We've had some conversations with some already. For example, the Saturn guys are interested in Ada support. JAX is also interested in Ada support. And the way that we've constructed this library and the way we've constructed Icarus as a reference client, we think this will provide a great degree of clarity and a really good way of people just kind of drag and dropping into their code bases support for Ada. Over time, we will keep updating and maintaining this code base so that when things like delegation come and other features and functionality come, that we'll be able to continue that support. And our hope is merchants start getting Ada adoption, and as we start seeing third-party applications materialize, things like an Ada Pay or these types of things, kind of like a BitPay competitor. It'd be really nice to bring that into the browser as well and to improve that experience. So this is just the beginning of kind of a new direction on the mobile side and on the light side. It's all open source. It's all under an MIT license. And come mid-August, you guys will be able to play with it. You'll be able to fork the code. You'll be able to make suggestions on where to go. And we're really curious to hear about your product ideas. And we're really curious to hear about the experiences that you guys want to bring into the ecosystem. The other thing is this is a really consumer-friendly experience. So Yoroi is basically one-click install. You just go to the Chrome Web Store, you enter it in, you click install, and then you have it. You just enter in your wallet that you already have, or you create a new wallet, and boom, you can start spending Ada. You can start receiving Ada. There's no syncing to the network. If you're recovering a wallet, that happens in a matter of minutes, not hours. So for a lot of people who have been having trouble with Daedalus, I think this is going to be something that really makes them very happy. And we felt morally obligated to provide an alternative experience if for whatever reason we just can't get Daedalus to work. Looking at the thousands of logs we've gotten, the indication is that usually people who are having trouble with Daedalus working either exist in areas where the network conditions are pretty sketchy and difficult, or they exist in areas where their computers are pretty old. So in this particular case, living within the Chrome ecosystem, given how lightweight that is and given how standardized the way it communicates with Explorer, we think that it's going to probably be a much better experience and much easier for people to use. So anyway, that's the announcement there. It's kind of a big announcement because it's the first time that third parties are starting to really build Cardano wallets that are going to be maintained long arc, and ecosystems are going to start being built around them. And that's always dangerous because you go from a very centralized, predictable level of control and predictable release cycles and a predictable roadmap to more decentralized ecosystem. And when you go through that transition, almost always there are some growing pains. So we're trying something a little bit new, and it's inspired by what Google did with Android when they realized that the Android ecosystem had grown too quickly and it had too many vendors and there was too much fragmentation, and there was really no notion of a stock Android experience. And as a result, the end user was suffering considerably. So we wanted to be a little different and saying, let's create Icarus as kind of a standard user experience, as a standard reference client. And that's meant to be forked and for people to reskin it and put their own user experiences on top. But there's a kind of a consistency in terms of capabilities, in terms of how the importing works, in terms of how wallets are restored, in terms of how key management is done. And that code base has been security audited by a very qualified firm, and it's written in Rust, and it compiles to WebAssembly. So this really, I think, will help bootstrap the mobile space, and it's going to help bootstrap the light clients, and it's going to help get Ada wallets into the hands of many, many more people. Furthermore, as we get smart contracts, looking at what's been done with MetaMask and that ecosystem, it is pretty exciting to think about how we can extend this reference client so that we can start having an intelligent conversation about the development of smart contracts, an intelligent conversation about the deployment of them and interfacing with them in a browser-like environment. So there's already been a lot of innovation done in the Ethereum community, and it would be nice to leverage that innovation and try to take it to the next level. So that's kind of the announcement. Nothing super special, but it is a major milestone in the development of Cardano. And it is an invitation to start listening to the community and learning from the community and working with the community. And it's also kind of an opportunity for people who are using Icarus or Yoroi to be able to interface with ADA if for whatever reason they can't get Daedalus to work. So anyway, that's the announcement on the IOHK side. Come the 15th, Emurgo will of course have lots of information about what they're planning. They're an ecosystem company. They invest strategically, so they've already invested in an exchange called IronFX, and they've invested in other ventures. And our hope is that not only can they take what we've built as a reference point, but they can start tethering an ecosystem together. It's not going to be too far off for people to be able to issue assets with Cardano through the Chimeric Asset Standard. And when that happens, it would be really nice for people to have a unified user experience where their ADA and the assets that live in Cardano all live in the same wallet, and they kind of have predictable accounting and a predictable security surface and so forth. But then if an exchange can be linked in, or banking services can be linked in, or third-party services like, for example, Shapeshift could be linked in, this would provide a lot of value for that and allow people to do some things in a very easy way and provide a much more seamless way for people who launch tokens on the platform to get listed, to get stable wallet access, and to have a good user experience for the people who purchase their tokens and use their tokens. So our hope is that Emurgo can go in that direction and link their portfolio together with the code base that we've constructed. But it's a neutral code base, and we really look forward to seeing what the community can do with it. Also, there's a lot of great interfaces for Ledger and for Trezor to interface with browser. So it'll be really exciting to see what we can get working over the next few months for hardware wallets. And this might be a better way to interface with hardware wallets than perhaps Daedalus. So look for that upcoming. Now, anyway, over time, Cardano is going to also start, as I mentioned, turning into a larger open source project. So coming into the end of this year and to the beginning of next year, we're going to start trying to make some more community-oriented pushes. So we're going to try as a community to work really hard at building up meetup groups and try as a community to work really hard to starting conversations about the governance system of Cardano. So after we get all these wallet improvements out the door and we're pretty much done with Shelley and decentralization, the next major priority is to kind of really start talking about, well, what is the treasury system going to look like? How are we going to roll out that treasury system? How are we going to start voting on Cardano improvement proposals and so forth? Another thing that excites me about a browser-based wallet is that it's probably going to be the easiest experience to onboard as many people as possible. And it's also a place where we can very safely store digital credentials, which are interfaceable with your normal web experiences. So one of the things we probably will do over time is try to merge a lot of our treasury and governance plans alongside this stack as well. So look for that as well. And it's really exciting for the beginning. So anyway, thank you guys so much for your time. I'm sorry to hear about the markets. They're always tough, and hang in there. It's never easy when they go down a lot, but they go up a lot too. And that's just the nature of crypto, and that's where we're at as an ecosystem. And a few news cycles, and once we get out of this bear run, things will get better and people will be happier. It's always the long term that you have to look at. And there's some very strong fundamentals in the project, and we're going to be here for a very long time. Barbados, we got a lot of cool things we're doing. I'll be speaking at the Futurist Conference up in Canada with Larry King and others. And down in South Africa, we're meeting with the government there, and we're going to continue our long arc Africa strategy. So Cardano's fundamentals are sound. The team is sound. We're doing quite well, and we're really moving forward. So thanks for your patience and your support, and hang in there.